all that you have been through and to see how you are just flourishing right now. Like, thank you for going through that so that you can break some of these curses on this family. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's to hear those things. I'd be like, God, reveal more to me. Show me more of me so that I can dig into that and heal that.
What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. I'm your host, Fergie, and today I have a very special guest with me, Miss Michelin Smith.
Aww.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know, Loki, I've been wanting you on here for a while.
Oh, really?
I have like a whole list of people who like, because you never know who's watching you. You never know who is like inspired by the things that you're doing. And so like, I kind of heard a little bit of your story before, and I was like, dang, I wonder. So it's like, you know, because
I am always willing. Anytime you need me on the Let It Be podcast, I am here.
And listen, when I asked you, I was like, it was kind of when, like, at the end of last season, I was struggling to get through. I'm like, God, I don't want to do this no more. I need a break. But when I asked you, you was like, absolutely. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. So
I want you to introduce yourself. Like, let us know who you are, where you from, what you be doing.
Okay.
Like, let us know something.
Okay. Well, I am Michelin Smith. I am from Little Rock, Arkansas. But I moved down to Dallas when I was about 17 years old. So I've been down here ever since, and graduated college down here, and found my church home down here. And yeah, it's just been history since then.
Yeah.
So
what do you, well, I don't want to get too far into it too fast.
Okay.
But like taking that leap of faith and moving down here, did you have people here like?
So let me tell you all about this. So actually, let me make a correction. I always say I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, because the town that I'm actually from, you wouldn't know it. So if I said I'm from England, Arkansas, normally what people say is that north or south of Little Rock? And I'm like, I don't know. But I am from England, Arkansas. And I graduated on a Friday, and my brother said, well, what are you doing? You know, and I was like, I ain't doing nothing. He was like, you want to move to Dallas for the summer? And I was like, oh, sure, I guess. I mean, I like Dallas. I guess I can go out there and see what y'all talking about. And that Sunday, we packed up a bunch of my stuff, and I came to Dallas with him, his wife. And at the time, they had 3 kids. And yeah, the rest was history. I moved down here and never looked back.
Yeah, I feel you. Same. So, how did I always like to talk about like the connection that I have with people? How do we get connected? Do you remember?
I know it was LaStar.
Hey, LaStar.
It probably was at one of her events. Was it? It was at one of her. But which event was it?
I can't tell you because.
I know, because we've been to so many of...
Star was like one of the very first people. Star and Summer, they were like some of the very first people that I met when I moved
to Dallas, right? Yeah, I remember her saying that. Yeah, I Am Butterfly. Yeah.
So was it probably one of those?
No, it was probably... Brie, when was it?
I don't know.
I really don't know.
I feel like sometimes like I'll look up like, how did you get in my life?
Exactly. Like, where did you come from? But the funny thing about it is I met so many good people through LaStar. Yes. So I know, but yeah, I know it for sure. It had to be at one of her events. So, and not one of her most recent events. It's probably been it's been some years, right?
I've been in Dallas like 8 years myself.
Yeah, so wow. Girl, crazy. It's going on about 12 years for me.
What do you think it is about Dallas? Why everybody moving here?
For me, I'll say Dallas was the closest thing to like my country lifestyle. Like I'm not a city girl, and I'm not a country girl, but it was the medium for me. Like I think Dallas is the mecca of like just like a melting pot of a bunch of everything, right? It's not just one group of people in Dallas. And so you just feel a little piece of home in Dallas for me. That's why I was like, I'm okay with moving if I have to move, but if not, I'm okay with staying in Dallas.
Yeah. I was like, what is it? Because I know I definitely didn't want to move to Dallas, but it was only because I felt like everybody, like, because I'm from Kansas City.
Okay,
so a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but Dallas is where they stop at.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I love Dallas though. Like, I love that you said, like, when you move, you just never look back.
Yeah, I did.
So do you feel like, this was after college?
This was after high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you was here, and then where'd you go to college? Like,
so when I first came down, well, not when I first came down, when I first moved down here, I was gonna go to Grayson College.
Where's that at?
This is like in Denison.
Okay.
But then when I went out there to tour campus, the dorm rooms was co-ed, and then it was like so far away from the actual campus. Like, in the dorm rooms was just like these apartments that was in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And I told my brother, I was like, I don't feel safe staying way out here, and then the school is way over here, and then y'all are about 45 minutes up the road. I just didn't feel safe. So then we went and looked at Collin College, and their dorm rooms was literally across the street, and at the time I didn't have a car, so I was like, you know what, this is it. This is it. So I went to Collin College and got my associates there. And then a few years after that, I went to Texas A&M Commerce and got my bachelor's degree.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what kind of drew me to you, essentially, after, like, I heard pieces of your story, and Star is just always around, like, good people, you know?
Yeah, she is.
But I know you have an organization called Dear Life University.
It's my baby.
Yes. Yeah. And so I would watch, like, sometimes you would have events, and you were always doing something for the youth. And so I feel like in this season of my life, especially, and kind of watching other people, like, our age group, it's like we not the aunties, but we are like big sis.
Big sis, big sis. I like big sis.
I like big sis. Way better. Like, we like big sis. And so it's like, I don't really know how to be an adult. You know what I'm saying? But,
I've been trying to navigate being an adult. It's so funny. I always tell people I real life need an adult to help me adult. Like, some of the stuff that I do sometimes, I'd be like, why would you do that?
Literally.
Like, for real. So if I don't say, why did you do that throughout the week, I feel like something wrong. Like, did you do something wrong?
I feel like, but it's honestly because none of us really know. We don't know. Nobody
we don't know what we're doing, And that's why it's so important to just give people grace. Like, just give people grace, because none of us, everybody is trying to figure out something in this season of their lives, So, Dear Life is my baby. Dear Life is one of those things that it came because of what I needed in the seasons that I was in, and just all of the seasons that I went through moving to Dallas. I'm a first time generational college grad. So my parents really, truly did not understand what life was like for me in college, so I didn't have the parents sending me money every week for this or that. It was really, I had to get it out the mud myself in order to survive. Like, or being from a small town in Arkansas, coming to Dallas was a big world for me. I didn't know anything about anything. I went to a school where you had PE teachers who were teaching these major, not PE teachers. You had basketball coaches and football coaches teaching these major subjects like math and English and science. And so the educational system in Arkansas was not really, like that. Yeah. So when I came down here, I really was like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, am I smart enough to do this? Like, going to college, I had to take remedial classes over, or getting financial aid and blowing it, and then getting extra, getting loans and to survive. College life was a lot for me. And so I feel like if I knew what I knew then what I know now, but we can't go back, right? So I'm so thankful that God gave me a platform to where I can use my voice and all of the my testimony to really just, encourage and empower the youth. And so Dear Life actually started out as a podcast.
Okay.
I remember in 2017 was when Dear Life was birthed. And my niece was getting ready to go off to college. And I was like, it was just a burning desire of something on my heart to just really like, dang, I got to do something, like this my baby about to get ready to go to college. Like I truly have to do something. And I started the podcast, and it was with, at the time it was with three of my other girlfriends. And it's still funny. I still have the names written down on a sticky note of me kind of like brainstorming what the name was going to be. But at the time, it was Dear Life, me versus you. Meaning like, Dear Life, this is me versus you. Like all the times where you thought you was gonna take me out, it's literally me versus you. What's up? Like what you want to do? And so I started off as a podcast, and we just talked about just different topics that young adults would go through. And then after a while, I felt like I couldn't. It was something else that I was like,
supposed to do?
Yeah, it's something else. Like I thought it was the podcast, but it was something else. And so after a while, at the time, the three ladies that was with me, then it eventually turned into one other lady that was with me. And then that dwindled off. So then I was in a rebranding stage of like, okay, God, what more do you need from me? And so that's when the organizational piece was birthed, Dear Life University, to where now we really finna get some boots on the ground and really do some stuff for these young adults. So
tell me, like, what is Dear Life University?
So Dear Life University is a nonprofit organization that mentors to young adults transitioning from high school into college, right? If you think about my whole timeline, me transitioning into college was one of the most, I'm talking about the most pivotal times of my life, to where I went through everything under the sun, right? And so I wanted to create something to where young adults had the tools necessary to really tackle college, right? Whether that is mental health resources, whether that is advisors, support from advisors, teaching you which path you need to go on in college, or, helping you define which path you need to go on in college. Financial aid advisors teaching you more about financial aid, and just ultimately a community of supporters, right? Like, we're here to help help walk you through your college lifespan. So yeah.
So how did you navigate college, like personally, like coming into that? What was that experience like?
It was rough. It was really, really rough. I went through so much in college. Mentally, that was the craziest piece to me, is really, I was in a battle with my mind. Can I do this? Is this something that I could do? Not having the family support like I thought I would. That was rough for me. And then just trying to I graduated at 17. So I was 17 in this big world by myself, trying to figure it out, working more hours that I didn't even have time to sleep sometimes. It was rough.
I feel like for me, college, like kind of similar to you, like coming out of the school that I went to, like I went to a college preparatory school, so they made us apply for college. Yeah. But for me, I never looked at college like, oh, I'm going to go and be successful. Yeah. It was an escape for me. I just didn't know that I could.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that I could. You can go to college. You can't.
You
like
can't do. Yeah.
And so when I was going traveling down like just a road that was not conducive for my life, and so I remember it was she's our librarian, and she was our librarian, Shannon North. Shout out to Miss Shannon. She would just be on us because I was on a basketball team too. Well, I was like a bench warmer, but I was on the team.
Hey, I was too. I got a story about that too.
And so just on the team. And I really do think like students need to be involved in sports or some kind of extracurricular because that's what saved me.
Yeah.
But she would always, be on us like, she would just fuss at us like, apply for college, you need to do certain things. And so I was like, whatever, like I'm gonna graduate from high school and I'm never gonna see these people again. And I mean, that's partially true. Like I don't really talk to many people from high school anymore, but going to college, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And once reality started to snap in, it's like, so what are you going to do with your life? Because I was just treated high school very casual. Like I did enough to get by and I didn't really care. I worked. And so I was like, I thought like, I don't want this to be what my life is. Yeah. And so.
You know what? When I was going through college and I was fighting this battle with my mind, I think that looking back on it, if I had to pinpoint what that was, it was really me. Like people saw me, but I did not see myself at all. At all. And we've talked about this a lot, and I always like kind of try to shy away from certain things, but to be transparent, that's because my parents didn't do a great job at reminding me of who I am, right? And so you got the world that sees you or you got your peers, your teachers, your everybody else sees you in this light, but you don't even see yourself there. I literally really thought that I was not smart enough to tackle college. Like I really did. Like half of me tackling college was me trying to tell myself, you could do this, you could do this, like you could do this. You smart enough to do this, like do it. And then the other half of me tackling college was I felt like I was trying to prove a point to everybody. Like I thought that people were like, when I say people, I mean kind of like my family. Yeah. I thought they were looking at me like, oh, you ain't gonna be, you ain't gonna do,
just wasting time.
You just wasting time.
Yeah.
And I'm really fighting to like, no, I am gonna be like, no, watch and see. I'm gonna be just as good as everybody else. I'm gonna be that too. Yeah. When really looking back on, I don't even think nobody really cared. You know, like
I think sometimes it is like how we see ourselves. And to be honest, I struggle with that at this big age.
Oh, at this grown age, I struggle with that. Yeah.
Because I feel like in high school, I've talked about this before, and like, at the time it was foreign. Like you're going to go to college. Nobody has gone to college. And so it's just like, what do you mean? Because I got to accept, like once I really like had a wake up call, I started applying for all kind of schools, and my high school paid for my applications, and so I got accepted to over 15 colleges. Wow! And like my big dream was always to escape my situation, and so I really just wanted to go. And my dream was Texas. Don't know why. I always had like I want to be in Texas. I didn't even know nobody. I didn't know why, but I always wanted to go to Texas, or I had got accepted to a college in Atlanta, but I was like, Atlanta way too far. I was like, that's way too far.
Busy,
really busy. Like Atlanta would have swallowed me up if I would have moved there then. But the school, I wanted to go to TSU. That was the college that I got accepted. I had a little scholarship. I really wanted to go there. But to be honest, like my family wasn't involved in my academics. They didn't check. I mean, you fussing at me if I'm not producing or if you happen to see my grade card, but you ain't involved in nothing I got going on.
Nobody was checking for me. And that's a I always get on to myself, you got to be more disciplined. You got to be more disciplined. Well, really, that takes a level of discipline to actually go to college knowing that nobody's checking for you. Nobody's checking your grades. Nobody making sure you straight. I lived a big girl life in college and still maintain my grades. Like I did everything under the sun in college. I done been shot before. I done went to jail. I done did everything under the sun. I'm telling you. And I still made sure that my grades were tip top.
Do you think that had to do with like the people you were around? Like just the things that you've experienced?
I would say yes and no. Yes and no. Yes. I don't think the crowd that I was hanging around was just like, oh my God, bad. But I could have been hanging out with the kids that was in the library, I could have been hanging out with them. I think too, I put up this, like, people that know me from back then, a lot of them are like, who are you? Who is this person? You know what I'm saying? Because back then I had to protect myself a lot, and so I put up this wall of ain't nobody gonna play with me. I'm me badass. I don't know if I can cuss on the podcast, but that was my, like, I wasn't one of those ones that you could play with. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I put up this facade of like, this is who I am, when it really wasn't, and looking back on it, it was a protection thing. Like, I did a lot of that to protect myself. Yeah.
It's crazy. I relate to you so much. It's so crazy how so many people can live, people live similar lives and you just don't even know.
Just don't know.
Because in high school, like, once I realized I don't know. I've shared a lot of the things. Like, I lived a secret life in high school. I was around people, doing things that I wasn't supposed to. That was me in college. Like in high school, I was exposed to stuff. And once I went through something and it shook me, and I'm like, I can't, and I'm not risking my freedom for you. I can't do this. And so once I realized, and like you said, other people see you in a way you don't see yourself. Because like my godmom and my aunt who passed away, like they were always like, I used to think like, why are you fussing at me? Like, I'm trying to chill, like I'm doing enough. I'm not failing. But they would like say certain things to me. And so I guess like at the time, the people who I hoped that saw me didn't. I didn't get that affirmation and things. And so I didn't. And so even down to like when I remember, and I've forgiven everybody and everything, but it still doesn't change my experience. And so like my senior year, once I was like, I got accepted to all of these schools, and my family was just kind of like, college? What you mean? Like, you an average student. What you talking about? You need to go to community college first and prove yourself. And it frustrated me because I'm like, look at the opportunity I got. I don't know if that's going to always be here, And so then I got to the point where I'm like, well, I don't care if you support me or not. I'm going. And so the school that I wanted to go to, like, it was a whole situation that I went through, like, around my prom time. High school, I just want to be done. I need to get away from here. I don't care. I will go. And so like, I didn't go far to Texas like I wanted to in college, but I went to a PWI, which is like probably an hour and a half away from where I live. But because I didn't know how to I didn't have real study skills. I didn't have certain things. And so when I got to college that first semester, Fergie was a different kind of person. Okay. Like, I'm talking about like I didn't like bomb at all, but I was I'm like, the habits that I had in high school, I can't have that here.
You cannot do that. And so like, you gotta get with the program over here. Yeah.
But I'm like getting high during the week and drinking, and I don't care. Oh, I forgot that was due. And it's like, these get degrees, and so I'm just gonna do enough. But then once something caught my affection in college, it was like, I just noticed like other people on campus who were doing things. So like, and then like, shout out to my best friend Galen. She was it was like, I was kind of like in the middle. I'm like, I still do my work, but I'm about to be outside too. Like, I'll see y'all in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why I asked you as far as like who you hang out with. It really does make a difference.
It does.
Have you do certain things.
It does. Like, and you know what? I don't even know how. I think we all were trying to survive, right? We all were trying to survive at that time. And I probably was part of the influence, a lot of the times too, or, the people that was around us. Like, what I do admire about my experience was everybody came and they it was like a melting pot of people. Like you had folks from Indiana, you had people from Texas, you had people from Arkansas, you had people from Houston, all over. And we created like this family. Like I remember one time it was, it snowed really bad, and all of us just like, I made a dish, this person made a dish, this person made a dish, and we just all like met up at somebody's house, and we just had like a family dinner, you know. Like I have although I have some not so good memories, I have some of the best memories from college because we all were trying to figure it out.
I feel like that's a lot of saying that when they say like college is going to be the best 4 years of your life.
It was.
But I want to know, what was your turning point? Like what opened your eyes to be like, okay, I gotta
make some changes.
Yeah.
Which point?
You done been through a lot.
Yeah, I've been through a lot. Yeah,
was that in college or was that?
Yeah, that was in college. Actually, that was in college. I was at a college party, and I was getting ready to leave with my boyfriend, and we were getting ready to leave. But he met some of his friends outside, so I was like, oh, okay, while you talking to him, I'm gonna go back in for a second. And I went back in the party and then danced with my friends for a little bit, then came back outside. And he was like, man, you just missed it. It was 2 car loads full of dudes that came upstairs and was like, is this what a party at? And he was like, I had to tell him, there's a small little party, is not a lot of people here, but he was like, y'all can go in there if y'all want to, but it ain't no girls in there. It's just a small little intimate little party. And apparently they was like, oh, okay. And they left and got in their cars and they left. So we were still standing outside talking to his friends. And then I remember a car coming back around, and he yelled out, the guy from the back seat yelled out, hey, y'all got a problem with us? And I instantly jumped behind, there's this post, like this little, like any other apartment, there's like this little post that was right there. And I remember jumping behind that. And I knew something was wrong. Like my body told me something is wrong right here. And so, the guy that I was talking to, he was standing in the middle of in the doorway. And so I was thinking in my head, okay, if anything happened, I'm going to push him in the door and we going to fall in the door together. And that is exactly what happened. Like I wasn't trying to wait until something happened. I started walking to the door, and he had already had his hand on the door, so I'm assuming that he felt something was off too. And so we as soon as I turned to go in the door, they ended up started shooting, and so we ended up falling into the doorway. And I remember thinking like, dang, my arm is hot, like my arm is on fire. And he was like, let me see. And so it was people in the door, like pulling me in the doorway because they were still shooting. And so once I got in, they pulled me to the bathroom and they pulled my shirt down, and it was just full of blood. That was probably one of the most eye-opening times of my life. And it's so funny. I really don't really talk about this. But letting it be on Let It Be podcast. That was probably like a time in my life to where I know I had to make some changes. Or I would say this too, I knew God had something greater for me, because where I got shot at, I literally could have turned my head like that and it would have been, it would have been a different story. And then my parents were in town that weekend because it was my niece's birthday. and we had a birthday party for her earlier that day, and they trying to get me to go back with them. Like, nah, because I know a party finna go on tonight. I'm finna go, back over here. And so they were in town. So I don't know, God just set it up so perfect for me, right? It was like it was that eye opener that I needed, because your girl was doing whatever she wanted to do. And then it was a reminder that God had more for me at that time. So
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was going to ask you, like, when it comes to faith, like, were you, because I know you now, like, we in church.
All the time.
But was it like that then? Like,
not at all.
Okay. How did you was that like,
no, that wasn't even a push. That wasn't even a push. That wasn't even a push. And even then, I still, like, looking back on it, I still did not take that moment as serious as what I should have took it, because I really could have lost my life. The doctor even said, you're probably one of the most luckiest person that came into my ER today. Like, this could have been bad. Even sometimes I go back to that apartment, because where I got the bullet went through my shoulder, top of my shoulder, and it hit the door. Jeez. I still go, like, sometimes I go sit there and I ground myself. Like, let's be real. Like, this could have been over for you. Like, let's take a moment. But no, that was not the time. That wasn't the moment that really just made me fall back in the hands of God. But I was going to church. Okay. I just wasn't going like I should. I would sit in the back row. What really made me fall back into the hands of God was I went through a breakup. So the guy that I was talking about, we were together for 10 years. In 2020 was when we parted ways. Okay. I parted ways with him. I parted ways with a friend that I needed to part ways with. And I just really was in a space of, like, I don't have anything else left in me to give. And I am literally depleted. This friendship has depleted me. This relationship has depleted me. And I need something. And my something was, I truly was yearning for God more in my life. And so I got connected with my church. Well, I was always going to that church. I just, they would never see me. So I got connected. And then at the time, I was like, well, let me join a ministry. And I was like, I joined Kids On. Kids On was like, no, that ain't me. I don't want to deal with y'all babies now. They would be texting me, are you showing a video to the kids, or are you on your phone? I'll be on my phone. Oh, it just wasn't, it didn't work for me. It didn't connect. So then I got connected to the student ministry, and then I was like, this is it. Yeah. And at the time, the leaders for the student ministry, they were transitioning out. So now it's time for somebody to step up. And so my pastor just really encouraged me to just try stepping up. And I mean, 4 years later, I'm still, that's my ministry. Yeah.
It's so interesting how God he'll do a lot of things to get your attention. Oh yeah. Because even for me, there have been so many things in college that I've escaped jail so many times, like only by the grace of God. Yeah. Like I didn't, I don't have a record. Yeah. And so it's like, how many times do you need
to be?
What else do I got to do? Yeah. And I remember I had went through something in college. I never talked about this publicly, but let it be, girl. I had went through something. And that's what God is like. There's so many, like an onion. Somebody told me I was like an onion because there's so many layers.
I know. I don't want to cut you off, but that is so true. And I'm like, well, which layer do you need for me? Because it's so many. And I'm learning, just even to be honest, my podcast is helping me heal. Yeah. Because
I was running away from this so much because I've kept so many things to myself. And like people, you never really know what people's experience is or what they even going through in the moment. And so I've kept so much to myself. And me and just doing this is really a surrender. Yeah. It's really causing me to die to myself, to heal. Yeah. I'm uncovering so many things about myself that it's like, no, that affected you. Let's talk about that. You know, like it's really helping me.
It's so funny that you say that too, because you know, I have a podcast too that I talk through so much of my traumas. Like even one episode, I even was transparent to say my mom was the first person that took my voice away. You know, and so, or the hurt that I had from some of my family members. Like I talked about all that, and it was so therapeutic. And then this year is probably one of my most. I'm so clear this year. I've healed in so many areas in my life, and I'm still healing. I'm falling more and more in love with myself, and I'm really truly surrendering everything to God, like everything, my singleness, my grief that I've experienced this year. Like this has been the clearest year that I have ever experienced. And it's so funny how I did not do the podcast this year. It's like the podcast, I don't know what it is about just, you know, just sharing your truths in hopes that it helps somebody else. But I needed that. I needed the podcast to just like let it out. And this year is just like, I'm finally free.
Yeah, that's so good. Literally, God, that's why I always say this be about me before it could be about somebody else. So before I'm teaching or sharing a revelation that I got, it's literally something that God is working in me before, you know, it becomes a thing for somebody else. And so like, I said, learning how to be vulnerable and learning how to be transparent. Like, I ain't telling all my business, but I tell a whole lot of it. And it's just interesting. Like one of the times that, because I think I just made my 11th month of sobriety from like alcohol.
That's amazing.
I stopped smoking weed a long time ago. But I remember the time in college, I had a bad batch or something, and it was weed, but well, I thought it was weed. And I remember me and my friends, we had went to Hotbox, and I remember feeling like a cartoon or something. Like I was hallucinating, and I was like, I was just tweaking, and I was like, what the heck? And you know, some people will have something and it alters them forever, you know, and that scared me because my thoughts were not, like, I couldn't drive home. I was, you know, like Smokey on Friday. I mean, not Smokey, but Ezel. I was like, something is off, you know. So after that, I stopped smoking. Like in college, I stopped smoking for a while after that. And I remember this one time, me and my best friend it was my freshman year. We lived on the same, she lived 2 doors down from me. And I came in her room and I was just high out of my mind. And she just was looking at me like, get that out your system.
What's going on?
She was like, what's going on? You know? And so like having that, it's like, I remember the way that she looked at me like, there's so much more in you. Why are you doing this? You know?
You need friends like that.
Literally, I love her so much for that. And then like after it was like the next year. Cause I mean I don't want to say it was shame, but I felt like kind of embarrassed a little bit. Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. It make you think like that.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And, you know, and so that helped me.
I didn't, of course I smoked weed, but I think my thing that was destructive was my mind. Like the way that I thought about which put me in situations to where it was beneath me. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Really? I think that was my vice in college was like, you are so much better than this, but yet what are you doing?
You're just doing it.
You're just doing it.
It's crazy all day today. Like I've had a couple of like meetings and just having conversations with people, and we've been talking about the root, like getting to the root of whatever this issue is. Because for me, weed was my vice when I was like in my early 20s and things, and then I stopped because I didn't want to be dependent on something. It was given like this is how addicts are formed. You know, so it's like I don't want to be dependent on nothing else to like help me. And so when God told me to be sober, like alcohol, because I go to the gym, so I don't even like the way it make me feel. But every now and then, like I will have a drink. But God told me, earlier this year, like, this, you're gonna be sober this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm not even a real drinker like that.
Yeah.
But if I would have knew what I was gonna go through this year, I know I would have been in here laid out on the floor somewhere, you know. And so I know, like, God is intentional with what He's done.
Yeah.
But you talked about having that clarity, because I didn't have. Like, I'm so terrified because I got the Holy Spirit. So I'm so terrified to be high. I don't know what that trip would be. I wouldn't even want to play with that. So that's just not something.
God be like, okay, I'm going to teach you.
Listen, and I have had some bad trips. And I'm just like, at this point, I am way too wise. I've done too much. And so I don't even know the last time I've smoked weed. But this year, not having alcohol, not having anything else
Sometimes you need you need to be like, I'm not surprised God told you, hey, this year I need no distractions from you, or I need you to be in a space of clarity, because what I'm about to download to you, you can't get that being drunk.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's like, why we're supposed to be sober-minded.
Yeah.
And like, drinking is not a sin, but if you are abusing it, and it does alter you. It alters the way you think.
Yes,
and sometimes, like, even when I just want to relax, because there was a time where I'm like, okay, God, I didn't know how to deal, like I talked about, getting to the root of whatever it was. I didn't really know how to deal with certain stuff, and I don't want to feel it. Just forget about it. Yeah. That's what I was used to doing anyway. Yeah. Like, whatever.
You want to numb it.
And so it's like, you gonna be high forever?
I think I stopped, 'cause I used to suppress, and I used to just like, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this. I never went to a substance, but I would suppress it. Like, I'm not finna deal with this. But then now in my life, I'll be like, bring it on. Like, God, reveal me to me so that I can heal those areas. And I'm not like, it's so funny how me healing has helped my mom heal in areas, or having in-depth conversations with my dad, and my dad saying, you know what, you're right. That was a good way to think about it. Or having my big cousin Brittany tell me, you know what, Miss, you helping our family and breaking generational curses, cuz. And like, she was like, all that you have been through, and to see how you are just flourishing right now, like, thank you for going through that so that you can break some of these curses on this family. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's to hear those things. I'd be like, God, reveal more to me. Show me more of me so that I can dig into that and heal that. And I'm not running from it.
It's not always easy, because sometimes we don't even know. Like, it's like, dang, I didn't even know that bothered me.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that was inside. So sometimes, like, in that revealing, it's like, oh, I'm kind of like, God, I'm sorry. Like, it's bringing me really to my knees. Like, I'm in repentance. Like, I didn't even know that this was in my heart.
I do that too a lot.
And God will use so many things to reveal it. Because like, for me, it's with having this dog.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, like, I'm not a dog person, but I love him.
You gonna get up off of Brody.
Listen, you want to take him home?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Pack him a little overnight bag.
Pack him a little spend night bag.
Listen, but gotta just, like, as I'm asking him to help me, it's like, let's get to the root so that I can help you move on.
You know what's even more interesting too is, like, we never talk. I know sometimes, because you got to dig into the ugly past, but now that I'm on the other side of the ugly past, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say ugly past, because it was a beautiful journey, right? Because anytime God changes something in our lives, that's beauty, you know? And so now that I'm on the other side of my healing, I have to learn how to live. Like, that's probably one of the hardest pieces right now in my life, is learning how to live a happy life, right? And not thinking that bad things are supposed to happen to me. Understanding that God wants good for me. Like, even with my relationship, I'm just like, sometimes I'd be like, I ain't gonna never get married. God, you know I want to have a kid. And God is sitting there like, girl, I'm crafting the perfect husband, and I'm building the perfect family for you if you just trust me. So but instead of me thinking positive about it, I always think the negative about life. So that's a hard thing for me now, is to really live.
Girl, you don't even know what you're saying, because that is, how do I say this? So like, remember like I was saying earlier, like how we big sis, but we still figuring it out. And so it's like the fact that now like I have people in my life that I'm covering or that I'm mentoring and all those things, but there's still so many areas where it's like, why not you? Because like it's been like what I've experienced these last couple of months is just not feeling worthy of this, not feeling worthy to be used by God. So the issue is like the root. Let's get to the root. That little girl that's hurt inside of you. Like I've healed layers, but there's still something deep down. And my mentor, I love you, Miss Kim. I love
Shout out to Miss Kim.
But when I tell you she read me recently, I needed to hear it, but I did at the time. I'm glad that she's kind of snapped me out of it, because something that I kind of told her is that in this space, like I'm doing what God has called me to do, but I'm not really. It's like I have a yearning for more, but I don't want to ask for more because I didn't ask for this. So it's like, well, I don't even know what to ask. But two, it's like, if God, this is just my thoughts, because like that's where I've always struggled with my thoughts since I was a child. Like I definitely like suicidal thoughts and all those things. Like I've never felt worthy of anything, of love, because of my trauma, the things that I experienced. And so I've always felt disposable. And so I've attracted people who treat me disposable. And so it's like, well, I have to work to prove myself, or I need to overexert myself, or, you know, like
be in everything.
It's just like, because like trying to earn my worthiness. And so Miss Kim was just challenging me, because there are some things, because what I've learned, you kind of said this a little bit earlier, like the podcast is just, it took a lot for me to even push to do this. But now I realize, I'm not saying this is the floor, but God has so much more for me.
So much more.
And other people could see that in me and say it, but I didn't believe it. And so it's like, when she was telling me, like, what, basically she told me like I need to start affirming myself. And she's told me this before, and I have, but she'll say something all the time, and I just be like, what do that mean? She talks about how like she's the apple of God's eye. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? I still don't know what that means. You know, I love that for you, but I don't see God in that way, because like and sometimes we'll view God the way we view our earthly fathers.
Oh, for sure.
And so for me, it's like, I know that even my father, like I know my daddy gonna look out for me. If I need anything, I know that he gonna be there. Now I might not have gotten like the affection and the love that I needed to like, you know, but my daddy, I'm not no dummy. You know what I'm saying? My daddy taught me how to be responsible. Like my responsibilities is always going to be A1, because I learned that from my daddy. Right. You know, but at the same time, it's like, because of the trauma that I experienced when I was young, I felt like a burden. So it's like, well, I'm not going to ask you for nothing, because what if you change your mind? Or what if you make me feel bad for asking? And so I look at God like that.
He not,
and that's hard for me.
He's not, and I love that. I'm gonna take that, rip that page. Me and my best friend always say, I'm gonna rip a page out your book and take that. I love that. I am the apple of God's eye, which means that God wants good for me. He wants good for you. I know it's hard. It is hard, but God is the Alpha and Omega. If he wanted it to and he already knew what your floor was going to look like and your ceiling. So just pray and ask God to give me whatever you feel in your will. Let your will be done in my life.
And that's how, that is like, well, Miss Kim, basically she challenged me, like, I hope that I've inspired you and encouraged you and all the things. She said, but a part of my mentorship is accountability. So she was like, all those things that you shared with me that you want to do, where are they? So it's like, I mean, I guess in my mind, it's like, oh, it just sounded good, but I didn't really believe that it could. Why would God use me in this to do these kind of things?
But why would he not?
Like, why exactly? Why would he not? And so it's like, you got to stop looking at God like he going to change his mind about you.
And he not.
Because I guess that's just a fear. So it's like, well, let me just keep doing this because this is what's working. I don't want to ask for too much. If you want, and I think in my mind,
God, if you want to give it to me, you can. But if not, that's okay.
Literally, that's how I've been thinking. Like, I feel like if God wanted me to have it, I would have it. And so, because she was
there's a duty on our end too.
And what she showed me too was like how powerful your words are.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, well, even if I say that, like, if God want me to have it, I'll still have it. She's like, that's not how it works. She was like, God spoke the universe into existence. Your words have power. And so if you don't speak it, it won't ever happen.
Absolutely.
Because the way you speak, your mind goes there.
Absolutely.
And so if you see yourself on this level, this is where you're going to always be because you're afraid to do more or to grow. She's like, and the thing is, you're not even content with where you are. Let me not say content, but you know that there's more.
Yeah.
And you trying to stay here because it's like, well, God, you blessed me with this thing. So let me not get greedy. So it's just like, well, if you want me to have it. So ever since she said that to me, she was like, until you do these following things, basically, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
That's what she said, do these
Good
things.
luck.
And she said, but until then, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. Like, so it's like, she really pushed me. And I feel like her having that conversation with me really ignited something,
a fire
in me to change my thoughts. And so now it's like those big things that you want. I do want a house.
Absolutely.
I do want to, I want a team. I don't want to let it be to be like, I have a business. And so it's like, my business is not just going to be the podcast. There's so many other things on my heart. Yeah. And so it's like, well, stop. Like, well, let me just, thank you, God. You gave me this podcast.
You gave me this podcast.
Let me just have like
over here and I'm just going to keep it like this. Like, no, God said, I got greater things for you.
But the biggest part of that though, is because I can control this.
Yeah. That's until you learn how to listen. I'm gonna tell you this from experience, or I'm gonna tell you this firsthand. I've lived this. Until you learn how to surrender everything, your earthly hands are just you're gonna hinder it.
Girl, that's what the last episode that I had when I just talked about surrendering it all. It was just like, I'm tired of having this dialogue with myself. Exactly. I'm tired of it now.
That's how you'll get.
God is like,
this year was, you know what, God, I see now ain't really nothing more I could do.
Yeah.
With my little earthly hands. Ain't nothing I could do. I'm gonna take my hands off of it. This has been the best year for myself, and I have went through so much. I lost my brother at the beginning of the year, and then 2 weeks after that, I ended up losing my dog. So, and out of all that, my brother's friends is calling me and I'm counseling them. You know what I'm saying? One of them was like, I don't even need to go to therapy. This was all the therapy that I need. And I'm like, no. Can't call me every day.
Yeah.
But in the midst of my grief, God is still using me to console and help other people. And I'm like, everybody asks, how have you been able to do it? And I'm like, but God. And I really mean that. But God, I don't know how I've been able to do this. I have surrendered that to him too. I've surrendered my grief. I don't want to grieve no more with anything, and you'll still go through your grieving process, but grief is not, for me, it's just not about the death of a person. It's the death of things too, or who you used to be, or how you used to think. Like, I gotta let it go. Like, I gotta let it be.
Girl, that's why I'm like, I got
to let it be. Yeah.
You know exactly why. Like, that's, like I said, this was a prophetic thing because I've always had this control in my mind. Like, well, because I've been disappointed or I've been hurt, God, like, just in case you don't, at least I got this part. It's like, you don't really even got this like you think.
And it's so funny too. I was telling my cousin the same thing. Like, she's the same way. But I'm going to therapy. But at a certain point, you got to apply what you got to apply what the preacher says. You got to apply what the Bible says. You got to apply what God says. You got to apply what you got to apply some of this stuff too. You just can't keep on absorbing things. Yeah. And like I was telling you earlier about, now it's time for Bree to live. Yeah. It's time for Mimi to Michelin to live. Like, we've done enough to where we can live now.
And it's like, you are worthy of it.
You are worthy of it.
And it's not that you have to earn it. You're worthy of it because God loves you. Period. Literally, and like that has to be enough. Yeah. And so it's like, that's where I'm at right now, because I think for so long, I just didn't believe that certain things were for me. I didn't believe that I would be loved. I didn't believe that I would have a podcast. I didn't believe a lot about myself. And so it's like, well, why not? Yeah. And so now this has caused me to like really go deep. And it's crazy because I've been going to therapy. I think I maybe started therapy in 2020 and it's taken so long to get to onion, like the little girl. Because like I've dealt with so many just world problems a lot, and that's what my therapist used to always tell me, like, you need people in your life that you can trust, that you can share these things with.
And that's important, because I remember when I first met LaStar, I didn't want any more friends. Mm-hmm. I didn't want any, especially women. I just was closed. I was to a place where I'm like, you know what? The friends that I already got they're a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm in a place in my life till now where I'm changing, and I'm really, you know, I'm going to therapy, and I'm really figuring some things out about myself. And then it's making me look at the things that are around me a little bit different now. Mm-hmm. And so while I'm looking at myself, and I'm looking at the people that I'm hanging out with, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna last, mm-hmm. you know? And then I'm also to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of rejection at this point in my life. I don't want LaStar to come in my life, because you're going to come in my life for a season, and then you're going to leave me too. No. Mm-hmm. And so it was literally at a touch of a hand when me and LaStar, we worked together, and I was about to get ready. We both worked contract. And I think at the time they had made her full time because they needed a benefits person. Mm-hmm. But my role hadn't yet been approved. And so we thought that Friday was going to be my last day at this job. Mm-hmm. And she came, I was just like, here's something else. Now I'm finna lose this job. It's just so much stuff. And she just came by, and I remember, I don't know how we started touching hands, but we just grabbed each other's hand, and we just held hands, and we just was like looking at each other. Mm-hmm. And like, we just let it go. And I just kind of like, I was like, you know what? That just was everything that I needed. Mm-hmm. But I said that to say, as our friendship cultivated, and then to see her friendship groups and be a part of this sisterhood is like, now I want, like, I got so many people that I can tell my truths to, and like I can let my hair down, and I don't have to do life by myself no more. Yeah. So your therapist was right. Like, find you some people that them onions, that's light work to them. And
it's crazy because like I've had like people moving to Dallas really challenge me to. I didn't know. Like, God was like, you have to put yourself out there.
You got to, yeah.
Because like I'm so naturally introverted, I didn't talk to nobody. Yeah. And so when I moved here,
I thought I was introverted.
Girl, you think I'm more? Huh? You think that I'm introverted too?
No, I thought I was, but I'm really not. Yeah. It's just because I was tired of rejection that I was like, you know what? I'm going to just stay over here on my couch in my little bubble, and let's just be that.
I think that like, I am introverted to the world, but wait till I unthaw. Then I'll be getting on your nerves, and then you're going to be asking me to be quiet.
Like, dang, let's bring it in.
Yeah, like literally. But, so like moving here, I've had different friends, different seasons. Yeah. Some seasons have lasted longer than others. And honestly, like I've had people in my life recently, like within the last year or so, like last year or two, that has really like, it hurt to kind of see people go. Yeah. But then God made room for some more people. Like good people. And it doesn't run out. And I think I saw Brenda Palmer posted something about like.
I saw her at the one conference.
Oh yeah.
The one women's conference.
I got a chance to connect with her at Stephanie's book signing at the bookstore. She's dope. I told Brenda, like, you never know who's watching you, because I'll be watching you. Like, I watch how you move. Like, she like inspires me. Like, just. But anyways, she had posted this thing about how like she was on this hike, and basically she had went on a journey, and like certain people that she started with, maybe their pace was faster, so they went on. But then as they went on, then somebody else came, and then her pace went faster, and she surpassed it. And I'm like, that's literally what life is like when it comes to friends and community.
And I always tell, because I got a few young adults that's under me that I mentor, that I'm like, y'all be so quick to cut people off when God never cut you off, right? And, you know, I get it. Sometimes seasons just completely end. I've had friendships where baby, the season has ended and I hope the season don't come back around. But however, I always look at it. Somebody mentioned it to me, like musical chairs. I don't know if you've ever played an instrument, but there's first chair, second chair, third chair, but everybody can't sit in first chair. Some people have to sit in second and third chair because this ain't the season that y'all could be. That they can be on this level with you, and that's okay.
Literally,
okay.
Miss Kim had warned me. She talked to me a couple of months ago, and she talked to me about inner core, outer core, holy of holies. Like there's levels, and for people, levels of access that maybe even in one season you might have been my holy of holies, but now we've moved past that time. So that's not that I hate you, and even like I ain't got no smoke with nobody. You know what I'm saying? If I see you, I'ma speak. But like some people, I mean, we probably will never communicate again. But it just is what it is. But learning how to like allow to like really let go of who I thought or how I thought, and allowing God to let me connect with somebody else who I can learn from. But also now he's like, now that I've gotten like my friends and certain things have kind of shifted a little bit. But now that I have people that I mentor too. And so I always know
that's
I gotta be
me.
like
some mentors.
I have to be like I'm more mindful of how I live because I know somebody's looking up to
me.
And so I wanted to get back into that, like why you started Dear Life and like the things that you're able to do, but you also are involved in like your church ministry. Let's talk about that. Like,
then my kids on the stick beside them, child. I guess I don't know. I am the student ministry leader at my church. I mentor about 20 kids on hand. Okay. And they have taught me so much about myself. That is like, oh Lord. And then I love the fact that they look for me. If I'm not there, they like, cause where you at? Why you wasn't here on Sunday? And what you been doing? And so those are my babies. Yeah. They really are. I think they truly came into my life at the right time. Those my kids. Yeah.
So being like do you have people that like you lean on? Like as you like even like you're pouring into other people, who's pouring into you? Like, do you have that?
Yeah, and which funny you say that too. I have built a community of women, and men. I've built a community of people that love me, that pour into me, that uplift me and encourage me. They can tell by the tone of my voice sometimes. LaStar asks me all the time, how's your heart? I go to therapy. I consult with my pastor and first lady a lot. I do a lot of conferences as well to pour back into myself. I try to never let my cup go empty because I know what that looks like and I know what it feels like for it to have an empty cup and be pouring from an empty cup. I can honestly say my inside truly matches my outside right now in my life.
That's seriously. So good.
Seriously.
And it's like learning that it's okay to like make yourself a priority.
Absolutely.
Because for so long, I used to go to another church and I was involved in the student ministry. But the way that the church system is, it's like serve. And I was serving so much and I wasn't being fulfilled. Like I was like my relationship with God. I'm like, I'm not no slave. Like, is this what this is like? It kind of like gave me a little bit of church hurt. And so now that I took my time, but like to allow myself to be poured into, now I'm able to pour, to serve from my overflow because I have other people. And then another thing that I wanted to mention too is like, one person can't be your everything.
Oh no.
And I didn't understand that when I was young. I used to think that like, well, you need to be my therapist. I need to all the things.
It's so funny how our lives are seriously similar. Because I was like that too with my best friend. I was just telling one of my friends this other day. My best friend was my one person. It's literally like my therapist, my bestie, my riding partner, everything under the sun, I had it in that one person. And I was content with having it in that one person until best friend went on to get engaged and have a baby. And then I was like, hold on, girl, because I'm your child too. What are we doing? And she was like, no, I got a real family. Quit playing. Can I go out with you? It was so different to where it was like me and her fell out behind it because I didn't understand. And she was trying to explain. I'm like, I'm not understanding why you can't talk on the phone at 12 o'clock. We always did this. Like, we did this 2 years ago.
It's just different.
It's different. Yeah. So now I have learned to expand in my friendships. And, you know, I might have one friend that's good for this one thing, but I got, you know, other people too. Yeah.
That's good. And it's so healthy. It's even like, I wish that I understood that more too, because I wouldn't carry hurt so much. Or carry rejection so much because I didn't feel like I got what I needed from certain people. So it's like, oh, you don't love me. You don't want to be my friend. It's like, maybe like the way we operate, it just needs to tweak.
Or the way we operate need a little tweaking.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to redirect some things sometimes in your life too.
I have a close friend who, like, she just got married. And like, she my emergency contact, low key. You know?
Okay.
I don't know if she know that, but she my emergency contact. And so, like, now that she's married, like, I know her, even though, like, she low key almost killed me in the ocean one time.
Lord.
But she is like somebody who, like, I know we might not talk. We used to talk more frequent than we do now, but it's like, I understand the season that you're in. And God has blessed me with so many other people in my life that I don't. Like, I still am there for you. You know, I want to know how to show up for you in this season, and same for you, the capacity that you can. And so it doesn't always have to be a all or nothing. You know?
Yeah, and that's okay. You know, like, I have even in some of my friendships as of recent, I've had to say, hey, I need you, you know, I need you to show up in my life too, just like I show up in yours. I need you to reciprocate that back. And I've gotten, I didn't even, I didn't even know that was how I was being. I've asked God to help me with tough conversations sometimes. Sometimes you got to redirect in friendships, relationships, in every capacity, and that's okay.
To have them on, man, I think I learned that the most from my best friend, Galen. We have had, that's probably the most healthy relationship that I've had because I always used to just shut down. Like, if I'm feeling away, and then when I don't feel away no more, then maybe we can talk, or maybe it's gonna be the end. And it's like, no, like, she wasn't raised like that. She want to talk about her feelings. And it used to really bother me. Like, girl,
give me a minute.
Like, when I'm ready to talk, I'll talk. And it was just I was just so toxic, and I didn't even understand at the time. But now that I, like, just able to, like, growing, that's something that I wish I would have saw example modeled in front of me, because I think that would help a lot, especially, like, younger, like, the kids going into college and thinking, like, well, these is going to be my people. But it's like, when they don't be your people, then what?
Like,
and so, like, being mindful of how you treat people in your life, and, like, some things you do to people you can't ever come back from.
Absolutely.
Because I've definitely had people in my college experience, and people that I was really close to that have hurt me.
Oh, girl.
And it's like, I thought we was gonna be in my life forever. Like,
I thought we was riding till the wheels fell off. I have had everything under the sun happen to me in friendships, and I still can see those. I'm like you. I could see those people and still say, "Hey, how you doing? Hope your life is good." And I could just go on about my day, But I do encourage my students to think about what you're saying to people, and think about what you're doing. I try to encourage them to make sure that they are having tough conversations. It's okay to pull your bestie to the side and be like, hey, look, this is where things got a little tricky right here. So yeah, that's a tough one. And
I think something else that I wish that more people understood, teenagers, everybody, like, don't assume that I know what you're feeling. Yeah, how do I know that offended you if you don't tell me? Well, how could you just know? Because you know me. No, baby, I don't. I'm trying to know myself. Exactly. And so, like, that was another thing. Like, well, you did this, and you know that. I'm just like, I've had, even in this big age, I've had to have conversations with people like, why you didn't just say that? Instead of throwing a temper tantrum. Like, we is too grown for that. Yeah. But I think that that's why I love being in the position that I'm in now to be like a big sis, to have these, because I didn't have these people telling me these things when I was younger. You
Absolutely.
know, like, this is how you navigate. And that's why like your podcast and like the things that you do is necessary.
Yeah.
So I know that things have kind of been paused for the time so you can be restored. But just know like I don't know a lot of podcasts, if any, that's speaking to specifically
groups of people,
to that generation, you know, like in the way that you're doing it. So just know like your experiences, the things that you've done, it matters. It makes a difference. And you don't know who's watching you. You don't know the seeds that you plant. For real. I'm for real. Like the seeds that you plant in others, who gonna come back and say, you helped me with this and I helped somebody else. Yeah. So it's like we have, and especially like the ghetto of America now that we in, and everybody is, you know, like it's a lot of stuff happening in our country, and we still need to be those vessels for God. You know,
I think I'm in a space of which I believe that it's coming out, right? But I think I was in a space too of I talked so much about the trauma piece that I really had to learn how to talk about the living piece, right? Like, but first I had to live it. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to really practice what I preached. I had to actually walk in my purpose. You know, I just had to do the work. Like I feel like sometimes my good stories always come after something, you know, after a good therapy session. I get on the podcast and be like, let me tell you what I discovered about my childhood trauma. Oh my God, let me tell y'all. And then now it's just like, okay, now I'm living, but now I gotta figure out how to explain that back to y'all, because there's so much on the other side of it too that I'm trying to navigate myself. So I really ain't got a story to tell you because I'm trying to navigate through it myself.
But even if it's not on a podcast, just you being present, kids you don't know who's watching you. You know, like you don't know how, like something that I thank God that God has given me the people that He's given me. Like JoJo is like my little sister, and I had her on my podcast last season. I'm very close to her, and I'm vulnerable with her. I let her see the behind the scenes. Like she know how I feel about a lot of stuff, especially like as I serve on the prayer team and the reaction that comes from other people, or like the way that people are gravitating towards me. And like she see it, and it's just like, girl, like I feel like maybe she see me in a way that I'm learning to see myself. But like we always like I intentionally like meet with her weekly just to download, you know, make sure that she good at things. But she know how anxious I am with certain stuff, so it's like I feel a lot of anxiousness with this, but I'm still obedient. And even when the hard things that I'm dealing with, like I let her see everything, because I want you to know that you're not crazy for when you go through stuff, or just because it's hard, it don't mean you're going to give up. You're going to keep going. You're going to figure it out. You're going to reach out for help. You're going to be vulnerable. Like I have to lead by example. And even in the good things, like she said something to me that it rang in my ear. She was just saying how basically like if God told her that there was a Lamborghini outside for her with her name on it, she said, I'm gonna go get the keys and get in there. And I was like, dang, I wouldn't. Okay, I would be like, well, God, you sure that's for me? Who's this? Yes, this is a setup, or how long I'm gonna have, you know, I would have all of these questions. And so when she said that, it's been ringing in my ear a lot, like, well, why not? And so like, because I'm learning to, again, like the words that we speak are really powerful. Absolutely. But learning to live and to even be vulnerable with God. Like, actually, God, I do want a husband. Yeah. I do want a house.
I want the house and I want the kids.
Yeah. Like,
I know they're going to be bad, but I want them.
You know, but like, I do like certain things that like, I know that I do want. And instead of believing that I can't have them, it's just like, well, at least I could do is just say it. Yeah. And give it to God.
Or playing this, because God probably up there like, girl, I already knew. Yeah. You know trying to play this mental manipulation on yourself to say, well, if I don't ask for it, and then God's just gonna send it to me. But if He don't, I guess that's just, I wasn't supposed to get it. Yeah. Like, it's just mental manipulation to keep you keep you in control of the rejection, right? But what if you don't? But what if you don't get it?
I just read this book. I think I talked about this on my last episode.
Ooh.
It's by Nona Jones.
Yes.
After I finished reading this book, crying. Yeah. Because this book, this is not sponsored, but it really blessed me. She talks a lot about how rejection has impacted her in so many different ways. Yeah. Stuff that most people don't talk about. Yeah. I recommend this book.
I read her devotional, but I need to tap into the book too and get the book.
It's really good.
No, seriously, that trying to control rejection is
it's like it's inevitable. Even I feel like I really do feel like rejection is just redirection.
Absolutely.
It really is. So like even if the things that you're saying you won't, it don't mean you can't get them. Maybe you're not prepared for it. So it's like, God, now my prayer is, because I'm bold enough to say the things that I actually want. So now it's like, God, help me prepare my heart for the things that I'm asking for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like I can't say I want to be a wife, or I want to be a business, like I want to grow my business.
Absolutely.
So it's like the root of it. That's what I've been hearing that word all day. The root. Like, do you have is your foundation right for you to be able to have the things that you say you want?
You know, it's so funny that you talk of the root, because all week I was just like, I need to, because I got a peace lily when my brother passed away. I took one of the plants home and I got a peace lily, and I was just like, all week I've been saying, you know what, it's probably time for me to repot it, you know? And that's what it brought me in the mind of when you said, God, I'm asking you for all these things, but am I even ready? Am I even ready for it? Like, you got these roots that's compacted. You probably need to, it needs resoiling. You know, there's some work that goes into those roots that need care. You can't build a foundation on cracks. Like you gotta make sure that you're ready and prepared for some of this stuff. And specifically speaking, like becoming a wife, you know, like now I'm just be like, oh, do I even want to share my space with somebody? Girl. Because like I've been just so used to being by myself and being so to myself that I'm even asking God, prepare my heart to share space with somebody, to be vulnerable with another man, to you know, like whatever it is that wives do, because I don't know, because I ain't no wife. I am a wife, but he hadn't found me yet to make me an official wife. But whatever that looks like, God, I prepared me for that.
I think that God is funny, because like the same thing that I know, that's why he gave me this dog, because it really revealed, because I'm so
I gotta see Brody.
Look,
Brody want to be up here.
He's so bad. Relax. I don't even want him in my episode.
I go, Brody. That's the thing. I be wanting him.
You want him?
Yeah. Come on, Brody. There we go.
See, we don't kiss, so I don't know why he be all up in people's face like that. Anyways, we
I got Brody started. I'm gonna put him down.
Yeah, but
he's so happy.
Yeah, and it's like his personality. Sometimes it's a lot for me.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, but God is just showing me, because I've been so guarded. Brody, he's so opposite of me, but I know that God did this to reveal my heart. You know, like. You can't, because it's like I tried to make myself believe that I didn't want certain things and I was okay with it. But then having him, it's like really made me think outside of myself. And it's, I don't know, like I know that God is intentional.
Do you embrace it?
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning. He really do get on my nerves sometimes, but I think it's just me. Like that's bothering me what he's doing right now.
And he ain't even doing, y'all. If y'all see what Brody's doing, he ain't doing absolutely. He doing dog stuff.
It just be bothering me. Like, I don't want you in my space sometimes. I need a break. Like, but I love him though. But it's like God has just he showed me these things to show me my heart. Yeah. And so even like the people that he's placed in my life that's challenged me, and you know. But I think that like when it comes down to like living, we when you are used to so many things, your expectation kind of is just, I know it's going to be bad.
He's so actually, you know what? I have changed even that, because I had that same, I'm like, I just already know, like, it ain't going to be good. It ain't going to be the, but I've been telling God, the next, because I'm 22 now. No, I'm 34. But the next 30, I do that to my kid. You was like, you just told me.
I was like, listen.
Whatever.
Okay.
But I've been telling God, this next 30 years is going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. The next man that you put in my life is going to be amazing. Like, I'm not, God, I'm telling you, I'm not settling for less.
Because I see myself so different now.
Period.
And because I'm glad that I've had to have people out of my life, and like, I'm glad for every rejection. I'm glad for everything, because now some of the people who I used to trip over, like, you can't even call my phone.
What?
You know, like,
you can't get a reaction out of me
at all. You know, and so it's just like, instead of even looking at like what I can't have, because that limited mentality, it's like, well, I already know this is gonna be bad. What do you? You're inviting that in.
So now you just missed out on the opportunity for it to just be
amazing.
Good. Yeah,
you perceive it as negative already. I literally had to tell my mom that, like, you already projected something. You don't even know the future. Yeah, and you projecting negativity on something because the situation is bad, but you don't know.
That's control. Yeah. I mean, we need a book on, we got the book on rejection. Now, I don't know if you listen, we need a book on control.
Listen,
how to relinquish the control. No. Okay, there we go. How to relinquish the control, because that is the next part that has us so hindered in our lives.
So
like,
it
really is.
You say that because you confirming what God was already. Anyways, you done spoken to my life. You didn't even know.
Let it go.
But
let it be,
girl. But I agree with that though. So it's just like changing the way that you think, but also knowing, like, even though we don't, like, nobody really know what they're doing, but I think that it is important to, like, be your authentic self.
Absolutely.
So that way the other people that are looking up to you, like, they know that it's okay. Because I feel like there was a wave of people. We kind of talked about that, like the influencer culture that's not authentic, and you got kids that want to kill themselves because they
can't
don't
get
what
just
you got.
Perfect how you got
and
it.
You
just
are
perfect.
not even what you portray.
What you say that you are. I never miss an opportunity to tell my story about, you know, my past. I never miss an opportunity for that with these students, because they need to see that. Because I'm so sick of people seeing me now and really not knowing what it took for me to get here. You know, it took a lot. It took a lot of mental. It took a lot of physical. It just took a lot of spiritual. It took heavy on the spiritual, because when you battling with the mind, that's a spiritual thing, you know? So I had to really get God, like get back in my, just my good graces with God, and pray and repent and all this stuff. So I don't miss an opportunity to show up as my authentic self, because that is so foreign right now in this generation.
And so keep being you, keep figuring it out, keep failing and trying and showing, like, be honest, because that's what they need. I think I had commented on somebody else who's like, well, dang, when I get it wrong, they were saying like how down they was on themselves because they didn't get it right. But I'm like, but we need to see what it's like for a person to get it wrong, and how do you maneuver that?
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I need to see what the failures is like, because that's what I needed, because I would have counted myself out from college and all the things if I just assumed like, well,
I wasn't gonna be good enough for it.
So I'm just not. But I know I need to see somebody who may have failed out and then got themselves back together. And
just by the way, I graduated high school in 2008. I didn't graduate with my bachelor's degree until 2017. So
listen, and we need all of those stories. We need, because it's not gonna be. It's not linear, you know. And so we need every part of your journey. We need it. Like, if God has deemed you as a leader, I mean, we're all leaders, but especially if God has elevated you to a space that you're able to pour into other people, like, be all of you. even in the learning how to live, because I don't want for so long I let my trauma be my identity. It's like I'm learning currently and now I'm living it out loud. Other people are able to see it, but like I'm trying to learn how to live. I'm trying to learn how to enjoy my life and to not feel so guarded and always my head on a swivel and not being able to trust. Like I feel like as ghetto as everything is right now, I am so exhausted trying to be my own protector. And so it's like, God, if you got me this far, you've helped me overcome the hardest days that I didn't think that I ever would. And look at who I'm able to be now. So it's like, if you didn't feel me then, why would you feel me now? Because I didn't see then who I am now. It was a fantasy. Yeah. But the fact that it's become a reality, it's like, these are things that I'm like actively like reminding myself of, like, why won't he do that more? Yeah. And so literally just like letting that be that. But this was good.
Thank you for having me. It's so weird being on the other side. Like I don't have my note card. Where my note card
is? I'm like just making sure we stay on topic.
No, this is good.
I do have a question for you. What would you tell your teenage self? What you know now back then?
Oh, that's a good question. What would I tell her? I would honestly, I know this is I would tell her it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. I am my wildest dreams right now. And I ain't even touched the surface of what I know God is going to get ready to just, explode in my life. But don't worry. It's going to be all right. Like you're going to be okay. Everything is going to work out and it's going to be all right.
I think I would probably tell my younger self that your best days are not behind you. They're ahead of you. Like there's so much more to live for. And so don't settle with what's safe. Yeah. Don't settle with don't settle with what's safe, because there's so many more great days ahead of you
than it is behind.
Yeah. So, I think that's what. Oh, I feel like that just kind of healed me a little bit. I feel a little tingle in my heart just by saying that. Like,
because that had a little power to it, friend.
I did it,
Yeah, it did.
Because like I think I needed to know that then. Like, there's more.
It gets greater later.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It gets greater later. I was so worried about trying to prove everybody wrong that I forgot to prove to myself that I could do it, and that's why I said don't even worry about it, because I was so busy trying to prove everybody else, and then now I'm in a space where I'm just like, you know what? Who cares? Like, who cares? I got the degrees, I got the job, who cares, right? Now I'm just in a space of just like doing what I love, going to visit my nieces and hanging out with my friends and creating that quality time with my friends and building relationships with my family. Like, that's what matters to me. Building my relationship with God, that matters to me. All the rest of that, it don't even matter.
Oh yeah. And if I would tell, younger me, like, girl, get to know who Jesus is early,
okay?
Because
so we can get all this out the way.
It would have prevented so many other things. Like don't, and two, because we talked, like, I've dealt with some deaths recently in my life too. But it's just like, we think we got so much time to do so many things. And when we ignore them, the warning signs that God will give us, he'll knock you down, allow certain things to happen.
Be more than a knockdown, baby. And he throw you, he pick you up and DDT you.
Listen, I love that word. But there's so many things that, like, I would tell even a younger person watching this, like, for some people, I would like, God is not for the aesthetic. Let me just say that. It's not.
I just posted that the other day. Like, this is a real godly life. It's not for the aesthetic.
Yes, and it is the greatest. It is the greatest. I don't say resource, because he is the source. Like, for your life, it's okay to be different. It's okay to change your mind. Maybe you started one way, but you ain't got to end that way. Like, it's okay to pivot and become like who like that feeling that God will nudge us. Hey, something's off. Listen to it.
Yeah.
Don't ignore it.
Trust it.
Like yes, trust that. Listen to it, because you can save yourself from so many heartaches, so many lessons that God didn't even want you to have to learn. Yeah. But yeah, I think that that's something that I would tell my younger self, and even like advice for like a first gen, because I was a first gen student. I mean, but for you, just like helping people learn, helping students learn going forward. Like, what advice would you give them if you can give them one piece of advice just as they start this journey?
Honestly, I would just say try it. Like I've had a lot of students on my journey say, well, college ain't for me. It ain't this, it ain't that. I want to go do this and I want to go do that. And that's all great, right? Or I've had students that said, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm still figuring it out. Okay, well, while you're young, try college, right? So that you can at least have your degree to fall back on. I'm all for entrepreneurship. I really am. But baby, I wouldn't be nothing without that degree that I could fall back on. So if, I'm not saying, I'm not saying to not believe in your dreams. I'm saying have multiple streams of ways out of anything. Don't just settle for this in a tunnel
vision. It's like own this.
Yeah, I'm only gonna do this. Yeah. No, like I knew somebody that only did music, right? Only did music, and now at I want to say 37, they're realizing music might not be. And not saying that he's not good at it. Yeah. He's awesome at it. Yeah. But now at 37, he's like, okay, this might not be the lane for me. But now you got to start from ground one in the work field to really build yourself up. And he's doing a great job at it. But just imagine if he had multiple streams of experiences, right? You got a lot of these students, they be 17 talking about, I don't know if I want to go to college. Okay, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. Okay, well, why you don't know? Try college.
Yeah, just try something.
Just try something.
I would say that too. Like, because I'm not just a podcaster.
Yeah, it's so many levels.
So many levels to life, and so just don't count something out because you don't know how to do it. You never seen it done before,
Absolutely.
And also ask for help.
Literally,
it's okay to ask for help because I still ask for help.
Yeah.
I don't be knowing what I'm doing all the time. Like there are people, and if they're not people in your life, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Absolutely.
So like definitely ask for help.
Yeah. I
got 2 more questions for you. Who inspires you now? Who's somebody or what is something that inspires you now?
My mom.
I love that.
My mama girl. That's my homie. What inspires me the most about my mom is that, as a kid, you just didn't see all of the stuff that they went through. Yeah. And she's so resilient. And she always made a way. And I think what I love the most now about our relationship is like, she be so scared to like do stuff, but she loves to see me doing stuff in life. And so she just inspires me to just keep going. I feel like I tell her all the time, Mama, the devil might have thought, but he ain't met me. When you birth me, that's when some things shook up off of us, right? And I make sure to just live life because I know she didn't get an opportunity to do so.
I love that. So Let It Be has a playlist.
Okay.
And I want to know, like, it's like a pick-me-up bank.
Okay.
Basically, I listen to this when I need to be encouraged, inspired, motivated. Can you tell me up to 3 songs, like something that you're listening to right now? Nothing that's like ratchet, but like inspirational.
Well, baby, I ain't gonna be able to help you because that playlist look a little rough now. One of my favorite songs is "Good Morning Gorgeous" by Mary J. Blige. I just love just something about it. On the playlist. Yeah, just something about it when I wake up in the morning that just does something to me. Another song is "Make Me Over" I can't think of that artist's name. I should have been more prepared.
It's okay.
But I just love the surrender of that song. Like, Lord, make me over. Make me over and over and over and over again. Like, it's just something about that song that just does it for me. And let me see. What's number 3? Woo, what's number 3? I can't think right now, but I'm going to send it to you.
It's okay, I'll add it. But before we get out of here, how can people support you?
How can you support me? So right now, speaking of just, I think you mentioned that your mentor mentioned this to you, just about, dream big and don't let those dreams scare you. Right now, and I write a lot of stuff on sticky notes and I put them on my mirror. And right now, one thing that's on my mirror is Dear Life times Target, right? Ooh. I know, right?
Say it out loud.
Yes. I want, so I am creating a collegiate paraphernalia for Dear Life.
I love it. Okay.
And so I have created a 4-semester planner.
Okay.
That is in production right now. I have created a set of pencils.
Okay.
And backpacks, hoodies, all of the things a college student would need to just be prepared for school.
I am so proud.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm so excited about it.
You said it out loud.
I know. And so I am believing that God is going to do what he does best, and hopefully one day I'll be in Target or Amazon.
From your lips to God's ears, okay?
Okay.
It is going to happen. I love that.
Yes. I'm so excited.
I love it. I'm so excited. And we got to talk because I'm working on some things too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So we got to hold each other accountable.
Yes, we do.
All the things.
Yeah.
So how can people find you?
So I am on socials. If you are looking to just follow me personally, my social media is Michelin.S. I hope so. So
I'll make sure you
tag it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then anything college related, student related, speaking engagements or any of that good stuff, you can find my Dear Life University page, and that is for Dear Life University. Yeah,
you got a website.
Dear Life University. Yep.
You have a website too.
Yep, that is www.dearlifeuniversity.com, and just plug in and tune in to all of the things.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We just was sitting here just chatting
away.
My camera done died, but thank you so much for taking your time for speaking.
Absolutely.
Just know that there are people whose lives are going to be impacted, who are already impacted by your yes. And so keep saying yes, even as we live in, we figuring it out. Don't none of us know what we're doing.
None of us.
So, just keep being your authentic self, and God is going to bless it. And I can't wait to see you in Target because that's my favorite store.
Okay, well, make sure you buy you a planner, babe, while you're there.
I will. Well, I'll make sure that I have everything linked and just,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. I'm your host, Bree Fergie, and you can find me on social media at Bree Fergie. You can find me, you can find my website for, like I said, speaking engagements or just connections, questions, things at BreeFergie.com. And I guess that's it.
That's all.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Peace.